Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Under Construction. This is episode 81, and I'm your host, Ellis, otherwise known as Train Man, or the Admiral. Someday that rebranding will occur. Be prepared. Anyway, here we are in Adams, and you'll notice there are a lot of trees here. I did a lot of this work before we started filming, although this was not the only thing I did before we started filming. I'll get into that in a minute. Over here we had two floating trees, which normally is an indicator of, hey, the game's gonna crash, but I saved it as a new version, exited, came back in, and we're all good. The reason I saved it as a new version, other than just to get rid of the trees there, is that these guys, which, for totally selfish reasons, and I apologize to everybody else because I love all of the things that have been made for the Great Tollwood Reskin project, these two, my favorite things that have been reskinned thus far, are on the download station now. Why are they my favorite? It's not because they're the most beautiful, or because they are, my favorite railroad on the map, or anything. They are my favorite because they enabled me to continue with the AI work. That is the only reason why they are my favorite. I love RS3s, I love these RS3s, I couldn't otherwise put them above any of the other things. In fact, let me show off one more thing that... Oh, no, maybe I didn't download it. I thought I downloaded it. Oh, maybe I forgot. I totally forgot then. Oh well, we had 080s for the VMR. Let me see. Yeah, so they're there. They're on the download station. I just haven't downloaded them yet. I don't know why I didn't. I meant to download them the other day. Maybe the game crashed before they downloaded or something. Anyway, those are up. These are up. There's a bunch of Eastern stuff up. Bunch of stuff on the download station now for the railroad, and a handful of engines included. Anyway, this is our big project for today, if you guys couldn't figure out by the fact that, here we are. I'm going to start by doing some grass, which means I have to go and get the grass texture I was using on the other side of Jefferson's Cut, which is this texture here, Erba 3. Luckily enough, we didn't use anything that was not in the download station for our work over at, in Mason Valley, which is good. That's everything I was hoping for. And again, the reason that I upgraded the route number and why it no longer has a B on the end of it, and now I know what that's going to be called, or that's going to be referring to. It no longer has a B on the end of it because it no longer has any DLS assets, any non-DLS assets as part of the route. Before, we had those RS3s, which I had to have in there so that the AI would work properly. The RS3s that are on the download station, they have a very poor engine spec with poor braking, and they tend to slide through red signals and track marks and all sorts of other stuff. It really made it difficult to program properly. Anyway, we are going to be bringing in, so we have some grass here. We are also going to be bringing in some fences probably around certain areas, and other textures, of course, but this is our base texture for the area. And then this is our biggest hurdle between here and the river for texturing and for scenicking. Most everything else is just trees. The next area that's going to be difficult is right around the corner, which is RJ Canyon over there, and the reason that it's going to be difficult is because it's got those sheer cliff walls, which we have to make look good, and thus far I haven't found anything that I'm in love with. I have textures and patterns that I like, but not ones that I love. So that's going to be something for us to figure out. Oh, also do that in route layer. I hope I didn't place anything. If anything, I moved some trees around, and that's not going to be that big of a deal. because they were already in the route layer. So I think we'll be okay. But anyway, so speaking of stuff that I did before the show, I was totally procrastinating. Also, this is being filmed on a Saturday, and I could have done it on Thursday, although I've not been feeling well, as I mentioned in the last video. And the other thing is, the double whatever. The next thing is, I wanted to give some time for people to comment on the last episode, which worked, because people commented. Appreciate the comments as always, and we'll be covering them during the course of the show. So, this area is marked by the fact that it's overly flat, and the fact that it has built itself as the gateway to the Volga Mountains. So, we have constructed, so this is a museum. There is a little campground here, and then most of these are, like this is a resort, which rents out cabins as well, and then there are a handful of houses, and then a couple of stores. So, in a place to get your car repaired, because, well, let's face it, you're going to want to have a half-decent car if you're driving off into the mountains. So, anyway, yeah. What was I doing before the show? That's right. I could have started the show about 40 minutes ago, but what happened is, I saw a video, which was an NFL Films breakdown of Super Bowl 53. More specifically, the defenses, and it was entitled "How the New England Patriots Held the Rams to 3 Points," something like that. Excellent, excellent breakdown of the defense and why that game was a beautiful game defensively, and why things were so close and why things went the way they did. It's fantastic analysis. It really is. NFL Films continues to produce awesome content, and this video was not, in fact, sponsored by NFL Films, unfortunately. But I do watch a lot of their content. So, with that in mind, if you are interested, absolutely go check out that video and others, but that's what I got distracted with. While I'm not feeling well, I am bound to procrastinate. While I am feeling well, I'm also bound to procrastinate, but, let's ignore that part. So, now we've done part of the grass. I need to finish the rest of this grass here. We also need to add some trees. Some other trees that are not part of the forest that we've already made. Just, singular trees or small groups that we'll place by hand and not by copy-paste. Hopefully that won't crash the game. Either way, we'll fill this out. We'll see how it goes. So, yeah, that's where I was before this video started. Now, I have had grand plans for what to do with this channel for a while. So, there's nothing that really leads into this. I actually want to talk about the owner of the Patriots. Now that we're talking about the Patriots, I want to talk about the owner of the Patriots getting charged with 2 counts of soliciting a prostitute because he got a handy at a what do you call it? A massage parlor in West Palm Beach, Florida. But we'll talk about that a little later. I think that's the funniest news of the week. Although it could turn into a not funny piece of news because it's entirely possible that the women there were not there by their own free will, which would be pretty horrible. Hopefully he's not involved with that directly and just happened to be caught in the middle of it. Old guys need handies too. I can't believe I'm saying that. Anyway, if you ever want to be grossed out, look up things about STD rates in nursing homes. They're really high. Like really high. Anyway, you thought your high school was bad? So, this channel has gone on for a very long time. I've had it for probably 9 years or so now. I don't remember when my first video was posted, but I got this computer about 9 years ago, and that was one of my aspirations when I did get this computer. So, something like that. Because 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, and then now, which is basically, would be a 5th year of college if I was still in college, And I got this computer about freshman year of high school, so it's about 9 years. Maybe closer to 8, don't know. Either way, you can look back and see what the first episode was. I could check it right now, but I'm in the middle of something, as you guys can tell. So, this channel's been around for a long time. We've had periods where I uploaded a lot, like multiple times a day, periods where I uploaded, about once a day, and then now we're down to 3 times a week or so, and occasionally I'll do some streams as well. Originally I wanted to make Minecraft Mondays a thing. Well, I had made the building podcast, but I couldn't get on the server regularly enough. I just didn't have enough free time. Now I want to make War Thunder Wednesdays enough, but we'll see how long that lasts, if I'm actually able to. So, I don't know. I don't know where this is going exactly. I wanted to make Sunday driving a thing, and there's a comment about that. Unfortunately, I just don't have the free time to do it. So, that's where we stand. I don't have enough free time to get a lot of this stuff done, and in the future, I'm probably going to have less. I'm going to be a homeowner, and I'm not going to have so many things done for me, which, oh well, God forbid. But that's just the truth of the matter. I will have less free time, and then, figure in the future I decide to raise a family with Madison. It's there goes all your free time. Maybe I'll be able to game. The one thing that I want to always do is to be making this show specifically. I've said that I'm going to end the zombie train whenever we run out of questions. And that does mean can the show, so we won't have that show anymore after that. I might revive it for if I get enough questions after that, but I don't really expect to. I might do more streaming because it's a little bit more freeform. It's going to all be on YouTube, though. I'm not going to go and stream on Twitch or whatever. Actually, I'm going to start posting everything on Vimeo from here on out. I'm kidding. I'm going to post on Pornhub. No. So, this is, this is where this channel is. But the thing that came to mind, which wouldn't take a whole lot of time, and it could be something I actually stream, because I don't do anything, there's really no reason to process it and everything like that. I could just do it as a stream, almost like a vlog even, a live vlog, is bringing back, the weekly updates, the timetables. And they could really be more of a state of the channel than they were previously. Before, it was like an Achievement Hunter weekly update style, where I would be like, oh, and I had this video, and I had this video. Now, I don't have that many videos, but I can put into words my plan for the week, and thereby lock them in. And the other thing I can do is say, okay, here's my work schedule for this week. This is where I'm going to be, and this is probably when I'm going to be filming this, and this is probably when I'm going to be filming this. Because if I'm in Boston, or if I'm in Glastonbury, I have a lot less free time than if I am in Warwick. Or even working from home. If I'm not feeling well, I can say that and say, oh, I'll be working from home, I'll be much more responsive in the fan chat, or whatever. I'll also be able to talk about that stuff, because I got a couple people, particularly when I was playing War Thunder, on the War Thunder stream, asking, oh, how can I chit-chat with you? It's like, well, the fan chat exists. Another thing that exists is the War Thunder group, which doesn't get a lot of activity, and isn't that full, I don't think. So, if I get people that I'm playing War Thunder with more regularly, I could use that group more, and then make calls in there during War Thunder Wednesdays, and that would make a little bit more sense for if people are joining up in the squad, like Brady Cure was, and like, Destroyer? Destroyer? I can't remember what your actual name was. I just remember you were Destroyer, and some numbers. I apologize. I'm not in the best fit shape right now, although, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I have trouble remembering names anyway. I probably wouldn't remember anyway. Sorry. But either way, I very much appreciated you guys coming on and playing War Thunder with me and just spicing it up a little bit. I have played a little bit more since then. I unlocked 3 vehicles in one day. I'd gotten very close. I unlocked like a German... No, I didn't unlock anything German. I unlocked a British tank? Yes. I unlocked like the 3rd British AA. I unlocked a... some sort of boat, if I recall correctly, and a Japanese tank. Yeah. Yeah. I unlocked an American PT boat, a Japanese tank, and a British self-propelled AA. And that adds to all of the... Oh, that's right. The other thing that I did was I played a bunch of Italian tanks. Although that was on stream, I think. At least part of that was. So, anyway. That's my War Thunder adventures. I really love War Thunder. It's a game I keep coming back to. This show is not sponsored by War Thunder either. But Gaijin, if you want to, give me my free Abrams. No, also, this has not been the dirt that I've been using under the roads. Hold on. I don't think it is, at least. Where's... I need to do all this. Crap. Oh my god, this is a distance. Alright. Oh, it's this ballast texture. Let's go do this real quick. So I'm going to try to paint and not move, and then move and not paint, because if I do both, things will have a bad time. Anyway, this is really so we can see where the roads are on the map, because they don't show up otherwise. I would like to do the weekly timetables, but I could do them as a webcam stream, because it was a long time since I'd actually done any editing with them. I used to do annotations on them, but those aren't a thing anymore. They've been replaced, actually, by other similar things. Particularly the end slides, which I'm not sure how to do those, but, not overly worried. I'm saying a lot. Also, I don't have a glass of water, which is not good. I filled up a glass of water and then I left it upstairs before I started filming. That's my mistake. But unfortunately, having a little bit of a health issue, going up and down stairs is not so easy. Not as easy as it could be. Alright, I am going to fill in this because it's going to annoy me otherwise. I'm going to fill it in with the same kind of texture because honestly, who the hell cares? It's like a Band-Aid. I saw this on the map. I just didn't realize where it was. I think that's all of it. Okay, give me my dirt back, or my ballast, or whatever this is. So, yeah, that's something I could do. Streaming offers me a lot more flexibility, surprisingly enough. I don't need to... Because what the stream does, it allows me to do something that's... that I can... it would be a very brief thing. I could take in comments. It's really just a way for me to get around having to take the video, process the video, and then put it up, and go through multiple softwares. It cuts things out, which makes my life easier. It also means that I could do it while videos are processing and rendering. It makes my life easier. I could just do it that way. I probably will. If I do it, it'll be done that way. And I would probably make those promptly on Sunday. So, you'll see if I decide to do it. Maybe I won't start this week, but maybe I'll start next week. I'm not sure what this upcoming week looks like, because I'm not sure if I'm going to feel better. So, this is a lot of dirt. This tool is a little bit large. We can take some comments. Brady Cure posted 3 comments. First one is, also, could you do more Sunday driving? And he says, I swear you've turned into a good movie critic. I appreciate the fact that you think I'm a good movie critic. I didn't even get into most of the stuff with Alita that I wanted to talk about. I feel like I said it with with Madison much more eloquently after we had left the movie. Of course, she knew what the hell I was talking about. If anyone has seen Alita, feel free to say so and tell me what you thought. Like I said the last episode, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It just tried to do too many things at once. It had too many different plot threads that it wanted to bring up, and too many, it didn't nearly have enough time to resolve all of them. And it didn't even plan to. And the ones that it did resolve, in some cases, were very poorly developed, or I think kind of poorly resolved. Like, they just didn't, you can't fit that much in a movie. It's too much. And I might run into this with the Housatonic at some point. But it could have been two different movies. It could have been the movie where she discovers herself and falls in love and yada 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 and does Motorball or whatever. Or it could have been the movie where she takes on the evil overlord. Unfortunately, it was both. And that, I think, is a problem. That, I think, was its main problem. And if they had decided to make the first one first and then the second one second, you would have had a pair of pretty compelling films. And unfortunately, you had one film with a lot of amazing visuals and some fantastic fight sequences, but too much substance to fit in that span of time. And so some of it sort of fell off the edges. It's like if you're trying to put, what's the right word? You know how making a movie is like using an eyedropper to put water on a penny. If you put enough, it'll make this beautiful shape, and it'll look really cool. But if you put too much, it'll spill over the side. It'll still look really cool, but now you'll have a mess on your hands. Which is, I think, what Alita did. And also, that's a beautiful analogy. Thank you, Ellis. You're welcome, Ellis. I don't know if it was that good. It was something I came up with off the cuff. Something else I can talk about. If we want to talk about movies, right? I keep looking up on my DVR or on my on-demand thing. I don't want to pay money for it, because God forbid I pay money for a movie. Of course, I could go down the street to the library, but I haven't gotten in my car in a week because of my aforementioned health issues. If you really want to know what they are, they're not pleasant. You can hit me up on Skype. It's not life-threatening. I'm just parked here in a chair sitting on a donut pillow. So I haven't gotten in my car. I could always go down to the frickin' library and take out the movie and watch it. But that's too much for me. The movie in question, I actually might have mentioned this last time now that I think about it, is Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest Hotel, which is one of my favorite movies, possibly like my second favorite movie. And one of the reasons might be something that hadn't even occurred to me, because of my gripe from last time. Last time, I mentioned how there are no movies about normal people doing normal things anymore. And it's all turned into, it's normal people, whatever, but there's a supernatural being watching them and it's trying to kill them. It's just, it never ends. People never get a break in the movie world. You can't just be a normal human being. Or at least live in a world full of normal human beings. So, what? Anyway, it's a movie about normal people, for the most part. The Grand Budapest Hotel is a great piece of cinema. It's probably Wes Anderson's most accessible film. It's his most typical film, I guess. And it's got a little bit of everything. It's funny, it's interesting, it's dramatic, it's got romance, it's got it's got even a couple cool train rides stuffed in it. So, it's set in, like, what is it, right before World War II, something like that. And, yeah. Or right after. Around there. I don't remember what the year was on the slide, but I think it was like 35, so it was just before World War II, or it might have been 38 or 39. Because I do remember things heated up during the film, and that's sort of, that leads to an issue. Anyway, I suggest watching it yourself. It is about a hotel. It is about, it is the story of a lobby boy. A kid who showed up to the hotel to basically find any work, and instead he gets involved in this scheme, almost. The hotel's owner takes a liking to him, and the owner himself is a bizarre individual because it's a Wes Anderson movie, so he has to be. But he's still just a person. He has a couple of quirks about him, which I will not reveal, a couple of which are pretty funny. And that leads them to try to steal a painting. How they get there, I'm not going to say. But it's more legitimate than I just made it sound. They try to steal a painting. They get in trouble, and they have to get themselves out of trouble. And that's not even the half of it. Again, there's a lot of other things going on during the movie. There's romance and such. But anyway, go watch. I can't say enough good things about that film. It is visually beautiful because it's a Wes Anderson movie, so it has to be. It is... The way it's told is very, very whimsical. It's, it's within a book, and then inside that book it is a story being passed down from an old version of the protagonist to the writer of the book, but the book itself is being read by an individual, and of course the story happened when the protagonist was very young, so it's a story inside a story inside a story, which sort of makes a little bit of the embellished details, or, the details that seem a little bit more embellished, it makes them a little bit more feasible, if you will. But, anyway, let's get on a different track. Brady Cure says, Ellis, I would, but I don't know how to skin trains. I don't either, that's why I'm not doing it, but from my understanding, it's not the most difficult thing in the world. There are certainly some models that you can try on that are a little bit more forgiving, especially some of these lower resolution models. If you want to download the VMR RS3s and play around with them or something like that, at the very least, I'm certain that some of the wonderful people in the Terminus fan chat will be able to instruct you. And I'm certain that if I went and said, hey, I want to learn how to do this, or, hey, Brady Cure wants to learn how to do this, people would be very helpful. That's something that basically this entire Reskin project has amounted to my understanding of how helpful people can be and how much of a length people will go to when you want something sort of oddly specific. Going back and forth with Trainman 05, which, again, I apologize to you for not being able to look at your models yet. I should have while I was procrastinating, perhaps, but I was trying to let Trains do its thing. I was waiting to see if Trains would crash on its own. That's my excuse. But obviously there were other things I could have been doing, like making this video. And then once I make this video, I've got to go and set up the document for the podcast. And then once I set up the document, I might have to make the podcast. And then Madison's going to come home at some point and be like, why didn't you make this 3 hours earlier while I was at work? And I'd go, I watched a thing about Tom Brady. But honestly, when I'm done with this, there's another video on Super Bowl 30 or 53 that I might go watch. Shh, don't tell her. She's not as much of a football fan as I am. I'm not even that much of a football fan. I'm watching these things because I'm a Patriots fan and it makes me feel good inside. I would never bother watching one on a Super Bowl that the Patriots didn't participate in. Again, because I'm just a fan, not really a super fan. I am not someone who follows the game too astutely. I sort of pay a cursory amount of attention. It is my favorite sport, but that's not to say that I'm in love with sports. My second favorite sport is baseball, and I probably haven't watched a whole game of baseball in, well, years, at least. I watched The Sandlot, though, so I guess that counts. Anyway. Where the hell was I? I went off on this track. We're just doing road here. I don't think I'm going to bother doing the grass along the side of the road here, but I'm doing this. Was that my phone? No. Okay, good. Phew. By the way, just for a measure of how unwell I've been, it snowed, and I haven't touched my car until all the snow melted off of it. Like, I didn't drive in it. I didn't do anything with it. I'm upset at myself for that. But, oh well. What are you gonna do? So, anyway. The, You know, I just had a dumb idea. This is scope creep. I wish I had put invisible track on every single one of these roads. How dumb would that be? How amazing would that be? Let's be honest. It'd be freaking awesome. You know what we don't have anymore? We don't have favorites. The hell's with that? That's the opposite of scope creep. That's we lost features. Oh well. Go over here and put in some rock wall. Okay, yeah, let's take a comment. We've got two big ones. Highball Production, though, says, sorry about that. I wasn't sure if you read it or not. Well, you know what? Better safe than sorry. I would rather read the same comment twice than miss a comment. I brought up the other day, because my mom had lost her phone, and she was lamenting the fact that the owner of the restaurant that she was at had tried to contact her using, like, Facebook Messenger or something, because it was, like, in a wallet, so he had her ID and yada yada yada, but it went into some other, like, back area on Facebook Messenger, and she didn't notice the message forever, and she bought a phone and had it shipped to her and bought a case for it, and then found out that she had this other message, and yeah. You get my point. I was comparing it to the fact that Evan Games once sent me a comment, and I didn't know about it until the following episode. He said, hey, you didn't read my comment, and I went, what? And I went back, and I had a comment under review. This was only a few episodes ago, too. I was just like, it happens sometimes, you know, I feel bad, and she obviously feels bad because she spent a lot of money on something, but it's like, I want to tackle these comments and questions, especially if they're topical, I guess. Like, there's no reason for them not to be. If somebody has to, you know, there was a question asked a couple weeks ago about the Super Bowl after the Super Bowl, and I wouldn't want to answer that now. It's not fresh in my memory. And memory is the key. And so is the sword. So, anyway. Evan Games. Okay, first off, that whole queued thing breaking is done, but last time I checked it was working for me, so I don't know. I'm on vacation right now, so I'll check when I get home. Okay, maybe dumb question. Are you on the newest version? Because it only stopped working with Service Pack 3. That said, if you figure out how to make it work, say something please, because I could really use it working again. I would very much like that to work again. That was one of the most useful little features there was. You know what? I haven't tried turning it off and turning it back on again. That's the thing that you should try. Interface settings. Don't limit contextual information. Wait a minute, where's the thing? Oh wait, general settings. Turn that off. General settings. Turn that back on. Enable free internal camera. Oh, that's cool, actually. I think it's still the same. Let me just make sure by clicking on. Yeah. No, it's... Oh well, was worth a shot. I want my grass back. We just have to know where we have to look them up in the in Content Manager. Oh well. Oh well, oh well, oh well. Oh well, oh well, oh well. So, here we are again. Continue with this comment. Also, yes, the NST is the best smoked ham around. I like how you and Isor have comments about this stupid smoked ham thing. This is the biggest meme to come out of Tolbrand. That's. I mean, that's not saying much, perhaps, but it's surprising to me that that's the first major meme that's come out of Tolbrand, the stupid smoked ham. And I call it stupid even though I'm totally invested in it. Also, it would have been mostly awkward if I did meet you at the railway show because I was with my parents and they only went for me. You could be like, this is a dude that I watch on the internet, and then they might be like, oh, so people on the internet are actually real human beings and not all rapists and murderers and, 40-year-old men. Because as far as my understanding, listen guys. You guys know how much Graham has been in content. His mom still doesn't know that we exist, that I'm a real person, and that his friends that he has on the internet are real people. It's incredible to me that you can get that far. When I made my friends, with the, even before we had the horse map, when I had friends on the Minecraft server, I'd be on Skype with them, I'd be like, Dad, these are people, check them out. And he'd be like, alright, bub, or something like that. So, it gets to me, because it's like, he wants to come on the trip to Promontory Point, even though he has a test on the same day. First of all, tisk tisk. Second of all, he wants to come to the trip, but he hasn't told his mom that we exist. What? He met me in person. He's ridden shotgun in the Goose with Wybold, and they don't know that we exist, that we're real people. Maybe I'm just jealous because I don't like being a non-existent person, but it's ridiculous. Come on. At least I think so. Anyway. Yeah, no, it certainly would have been awkward, but it still would have been kind of funny. I would have been certainly entertained. And I'd be like, he posts incredible, insightful comments, and your parents would be like, I'm proud of you. I would hope. Or they're like, you're commenting on the internet. How dare you? He's not supposed to be on the internet. We're supposed to keep him locked up in the basement. And I'd be like, alright, whatever you do, Mr. and Mrs. Games. But, whatever. Okay, that's right. 1. No, the play is not Grease Lightning. Damn, whatever that is, I'm also scared. Nah, you gotta learn about it sometimes, Grease Lightning. It's about cars and teenagers. So, yeah. And the parodies are a few days after the play. 2. The name of the play is Nifty Fifties, and the song I'm going to parody is called Edzil. I can send you the lyrics on Skype if you want. If I had the free time, I would say yes, do it, and I'll make an Ivan version. But I do not have the free time to do that, so unfortunately I'm going to have to pass on that one. That said, when I read through the comment initially, when it came up, I was like, oh, Nifty 50s, I've heard of that, and then I realized I haven't heard of that. I'm thinking of Nifty 50 States, which is not the same thing. In fact, it's not even close. But, whatever. Whatever. I'm gonna pretend that I know it. I've never heard of it. 3. I know I'm going on about the play a lot, but we cut a song from the play. I'm sad about it, but my director told me and my 2 friends that we could do it for the talent show, and I'm kind of the director of it, and it's kind of stressful because no one else that's in it is working on their parts that much. The name of the song is The Blob. The Blob That Ate Everything. I nicknamed something at work The Blob That Ate Everything. It was a problem in CAD with line weights displaying too heavily, so you'd draw like a pencil thin line, and it would come out to be this fat marker line. And so I had drawn a little bicycle on the roadway because we were drawing in what's called sharrows, which are little arrows that should tell you to share the road with bicyclists if you're in a car. And we were putting these things in, and I drew them in, and then we printed out, and they come out like one massive sort of bicycle-ish shaped lump. And I'm like, okay, that's a problem. And so we're going back and forth between our CAD experts, of which now I am one, which, But, we're talking to our CAD experts, and people are basically saying, I don't know, maybe if you do this, maybe if you do this, here, fix this, try this. And so, in email correspondence, I started calling it the blob that ate everything. And eventually we fixed it, and that was in my change log for that drawing when we were getting ready to send it to the client. It's like, alright, I fixed the blob that ate everything, and it's ready to go. It was actually one of the last things to be fixed, because, there are other better things to be doing with our time than trying to fix a line weight issue when we need to actually be drawing something, and the line weight issue is kind of secondary and would take, not so much time once you've figured out what the issue actually is. Anyway, and hey, you're getting that group project feel. Yeah, I understand that. It's a shame when you're in a project and other people are not as invested as you are, especially if you're like super invested, if you're super excited about whatever the project may be. If you're trying to do this thing and people just don't want to follow along, it feels bad, man. But at that point, you either have two options. You have three, I guess. But you either keep on trucking and you finish the thing, or you just drop it and move on to a project that you all want to do more. If you want to get people invested, they have to be invested. They have to be interested. Which, is difficult, but you can't just be a dictator and whip people into shape and say, you're going to do this now, comrades, or else I will throw you in the gulag. You can, but it might not go over so well. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's an issue that we all face. The third option, though, is to level with them and say, hey, you guys aren't doing this. Is this something we really want to do? What's the holdup? Put them on the spot. Talk about it. You can't get anywhere without some chit-chat, really. Without understanding what's going on, and them understanding how you feel about it, and what the sort of deadlines actually are, then you're not going to get anywhere. It's tough to get people to go up on stage and sing their hearts out, or whatever you're going to be doing with it, if they don't want to be there. Certainly if they don't really care, and then it's going to undermine your performance, if you do. So, it's important to figure out where everyone's at with a project like that. Again, especially if it's something more voluntary, because you can't threaten them with a bad grade. You can always, if you do pretty well in school, you can always have sort of a Pyrrhic victory if you are the one person in a group project that's pulling your weight. You do the project, well, not the project. You sit down with people at the beginning of a project, and you say, hey, this is what we're all going to do. I'm going to do this, you're going to do this, little Susie's going to do this, and Billy's going to do this. And you all agree on what the workload's going to be between you all. And that's just fine. It's all well and good until somebody stops pulling their weight, or until everyone stops pulling their weight. Until you start getting people who aren't fulfilling that work requirement that you all agreed upon. And things can get a little bit hairy, because it's like, what do? Do I do this whole damn project for everyone? That seems like something I shouldn't be doing. Not only because then I'm doing something for their grade, but I'm also doing more than we agreed that I would do. We signed a contract at the beginning of this group project, be it a metaphorical one or a physical one, which if you want to do a physical one, friggin' do it. Show people that you're hardcore. But if you have the grades, and if you, especially level this with your parents first, because if they check your grades and you have a bad one, you might get in trouble, just out of nowhere. And also level this with your teacher as well. If your teacher, obviously, before the project is going to be due, if you bring it up to your teacher and say, hey, I'm the only one doing my work, this is what we planned, and, show them the document, or the contract if you made one, because, everything's better with legalese. This is what we plan to do, and I've done this, but Susie hasn't done her part, and Billy hasn't done his part. I would like these people to be convinced to do their part so that we can all get a good grade. And that is, that's the sort of thing where then your teacher, if they're particularly helpful, can bring it up to those students, your peers, and say, hey, I've heard you're not pulling your weight on this project. You really should be. You should be doing this, this, and this, and it should be done by this, this, and this. And maybe they'll even help you by saying something like, you need to do this and report it back to me so that I know that you did it. Teachers have ways, man. However, a teacher could also say something like, this is not a problem that I'm going to face myself. This is a problem between you guys, the students, and it's something that you guys are going to face in life, and you're going to have to work it out yourself. So, you need to figure out what you're going to do and get back to me. And you better have that project in on time. And some people might consider this teacher being a dick. Some people, on the other hand, might consider this teacher being, teacher sort of putting the student in charge of their own problem solving. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't, maybe, or maybe just more like, opinions. Either way, you could be in that situation where it's up to you and you alone to moderate how this group project is going to work. And if you can't, that means you're not going to have a full project, and that means you're not going to have a good grade. And ain't that the worst? So, that's the part you have to get over. If you want, or if people are playing chicken with you and saying, well, I'm not going to do my part, then you got to play chicken right back and say, okay. Because if they're the kind of people that aren't going to be upfront with their schoolwork, they probably don't have the good grades to bank anything up. So, think about it this way. They don't have good grades, probably, assumedly, hypothetically, in this scenario. They don't have good grades. So, you probably do. If you're the one pulling all the weight here, you probably do, and they don't. What does that mean? Well, that means if you bomb this project collectively, you might still come out of it in a half-decent way, but they might be in some real trouble. So, again, keep that contract around. It's very handy. But do your part. Do it to the best of your ability. And that's it. If somebody else is in charge of something else, that's their problem. If you get a bad grade on that project, everyone gets a bad grade on that project. They're going to be in real trouble. They're going to be in real trouble. Again, clear this with your parents first, because if you say, hey, I'm going to get a bad grade on this project because Billy and Susie aren't doing their thing, that might be a little bit more passable than you bringing home a bad grade and them saying what happened and getting the belt out, and you going, it wasn't me, it was my students, or it was my peers, it was my friends. They didn't do their parts of the project. I swear, it wasn't me. Now, some parents might not care. You failed to work it out, so therefore you got a bad grade and you're in trouble. Some parents might be a little bit more understanding. You don't know. Again, clear with parents first. See what their reaction is when you say, hey, they aren't doing their part in the project. I've done my part, so we're just going to have to, I might get a bad grade on this. I'm sorry, but it isn't my fault. So, I would totally take the Pyrrhic victory any day of the friggin' week. Any time where I can be like, I guess we're just going to get a bad grade on this. Not that I have the opportunity to do this anymore. And not that I really encountered this in college that much, because it's college. People are paying to be there. It's kind of important. That's something that I would totally do. Also, not really something I had the opportunity to do. I didn't have that many awful complaints with group projects. Maybe because I was that guy. I never didn't do my part, but I'm totally, like I said, a procrastinator. And I would do my part, but I would do my part sort of at my own leisure. I don't think I ever cost anyone a grade on it, though. like a grade for it though. It was just, they were like, hey, you gotta do this, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it, and then I would do it. Just, it would be a little while. Anyway. Also one of those people who doesn't like to write drafts, so. Why? Because I'm above them. Because I'm better than them. Drafts have flaws. I do not have flaws. Oops, I missed a spot. Alright, cover a different part of this thing. Also in the play, no one is good at dancing, and they aren't listening to the director, and they aren't listening. I think I'm the only one who sits in my place and keeps quiet, because I have no friends in my group that I sit in. Well, that kind of sucks. But hey, if you go out there and you play your heart out, people are going to go, hey, that Evan kid did really good, and not, wow, that play was terrible. I mean, they might say both. But at the very least, they'll be saying the first thing. So, you know, it's life. You can only control what you do and what you say and what you think. Unless you have schizophrenia, in which case you can't control that. But, you know, you can only control things that are in your purview, that are under your umbrella. And the direct implication of that is the fact that if you're relying on other people for things, you don't know how they're going to do, you don't know how they're going to act, you don't know how they're going to be. I hate how right the adage can sometimes be, if you want something right, do it yourself. It's such a callous way of doing things, or, you know, a callous way of thinking, and is, frankly, pretty mean, because it sort of implies that no one else can get anything right. But I think mainly it's a better saying for picky people and for people that are legitimately worried about how their peers are doing on things. And also, it holds true for the idea that you can only control the things that you do. You don't get to dictate what other people are actually doing, or at least, you know, certainly thinking about what they're doing. You can tell people to do things, but that doesn't mean they'll listen. Anyone who's raised an animal knows that. And deep down, humans, we're all animals. We're acting on instinct, and we're acting on what we think is the right thing to do. And whether it's the right thing, whether we call it the right thing because it makes us money, or because it makes us feel good inside, or whatever, you know, no matter why we determine that it's the right reason, it still is. Or else we wouldn't pick that. We wouldn't do that. If you feel like, I feel like it's the right thing to help my buddy out on this group project, but I'm not going to do it. There's a reason why you decide not to do it. There's a reason why you make that choice over the other one. And, you know, it very quickly becomes not about a moral right and wrong, but about what we think is the right thing for us to do in that moment. Because you might say, oh, this guy took a bribe. Clearly, he knew that was the wrong decision because he had this option, but the money was on the table and he decided to choose the wrong thing. But that's not him choosing the wrong thing for him. It's him choosing the thing that he wanted the most, which for him is the right decision because that's what he wanted. Morally, is it? No, probably not. But people do what they think is the right thing. Whether they have to go through cognitive hoops to figure that out or not, they do what they think is the right thing. For them, for whomever, for whatever their top priority is, for whatever their bottom line is. And it sucks to think like that because you figure, well, people just, they made the wrong decision. Clearly they knew it was the wrong decision, but that's not necessarily how people think. People justify their actions. People don't choose the thing that they don't like, or that they don't want to do. In a very general sense. You might not like, having to steer up onto the sidewalk, but when the alternative is hitting a pedestrian standing in the middle of the road, you're going to make that choice. It's about context, and it's about what's going on in your head at that very moment. Anyway. I get off track here. If you're sitting down and you're being quiet and calm and doing the right thing, then that's really all that anyone can really ask of you. So that, if you figure that right there is the right thing, then that right there is the right thing. So I think you're doing the right thing. Keep doing the right thing. Anyway. Boop, 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 boop. Next bit. How was the trip with Madison? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I get to talk about this now. So, it's funny because you brought up the Model Railroad show. The Toy Fair is most comparable, in my opinion, and in Madison's opinion. She was the one that brought up the comparison first. I have to give her credit for that. To the Model Railroad show. It's, a lot of people get together, show off their stuff, whether it be through demonstrations, a model railroad, or just a booth where they're trying to sell things. And it's all about toys. Lego has a giant booth. There are people with marble runs. There are people with, botanical stuff. Like a place that sells those little things where you grow butterflies or anthills or, that sort of stuff. There's everything there. There's everything. It was fantastic. The show itself was fantastic. The only damper that I can say is that I was not well. I had... Again, I'm just calling it a vague medical issue right now instead of getting into the specifics. Because I don't want to be grosser than the nursing home STD thing I mentioned earlier. Though I'm not really sure I can top that. And the which was preventing me from properly walking around. I know I wasn't in a wheelchair, but I would have liked to have been. I didn't have a donut pillow, and really, things did not go well for me. We spent some great days there. We had dinner in some fantastic restaurants. We went to all sorts of funny little places on the subway system because we just decided to do that for a little while. I almost got Krispy Kreme, which would have made my entire weekend, and probably my entire week, I'm going to be honest. It would have made the whole span of 2 weeks. We had a great little hotel room, which was in this little Comfort Inn, which was nestled, not too far from Penn Station, like a 15-minute walk from Penn Station and the Javits Center, which is where the event was. It was a great little place. You can tell it was these guys. I could not really tell their ethnicity. They looked Indian-ish, or Middle Eastern, or that sort of thing. But I couldn't tell you one way or the other. Not that it really mattered, but the point is they seemed like they were, probably immigrants or first-generation Americans who were, just trying to run their own place, and so they're running this thing under the Comfort Inn license, which, personally I thought was kind of cool. And they, I wouldn't say they pulled out all the stops, because, it wasn't super over the top with what they were giving us, but it was a great little hotel. It was a great little hotel. The rooms were nice and well kept. The location was pretty good. It was very close to Times Square, as a matter of fact. As far as I understand, the rate was reasonable for New York City. It was a good place. And yeah, being inside the Javits Center, that place is massive. I also went up on the High Line. First time I've been up there, I walked about half of it, not half of it. I walked a good portion of it with Madison, although some of it was blocked off for construction on nearby buildings. A lot of that area is going up right now. A lot of new construction over in the Hudson Yards area. Went through the other new subway station, the 34th Street Hudson Yards station. Pretty nice. Not as nice as the 2nd Avenue stops, but nice nonetheless. I did a lot of stuff. Told her a lot about all the different bits of history in the subway system. Went through the City Hall Loop again. Went out towards Coney Island, but not all the way to Coney Island. We had grand plans to go to Far Rockaway, but those didn't pan out. I didn't do anything really touristy. Didn't even go to, well, I guess you could call the High Line kind of touristy. But didn't go to, like, Times Square. Didn't go to Coney Island. Didn't go to Battery Park or Central Park or, any of these other high-traffic locations. I just, honestly, I don't get as interested with touristy stuff as, I guess, your average tourist does, probably because I'm a foamer and I want to see trains. I did see the Hudson Yards, which was a new thing for me. Pointed out some cool bits of the original Penn Station to Madison. Didn't get to go over to the Moynihan Train Hall, although I would have liked to. But when you're only in New York City for about 36 hours, there is way too much to do and not enough you can do. There are, it's a city that, as the saying goes, never sleeps. And it is packed to the brim with things to do. It is, just wandering around New York City is like wandering around some movie set because, well, it's New York City. We all feel like we've been there. It's one of my favorite things about the place is the fact that every corner you turn is, it feels like another set. Whether it feels like you're going to run into Superman or Batman or Spider-Man, or you're going to run into, the cast of Law & Order SVU. Everything goes on there. Everything, Hollywood has an obsession with New York City, and, good reason for it. But anyway, yeah. Of course it has its downsides. It's dirty, it's smelly, it's a city. It's a living, breathing city. It's not... So I was comparing it to... Because I went to Naples and Rome last winter. Not this past, about a year ago. A year and 2 months ago. 14 months ago. And the demeanor is so different. You do still have panhandlers. You do still have, people playing music on street corners and whatever, asking for spare change, yada yada. But it's not at all the same. It's not at the same level. See, one of the things about New York City, and about a lot of cities that, those old, these old cities, particularly like Naples and Rome, really don't have, is they've still got a lot of commerce. They exist for reasons other than tourism. Now, that's not to say there aren't business districts in places like Rome and Paris, and London, of course, but sometimes, when you look at those cities, it feels like they only exist for the sake of tourists. The large cities in the U.S., maybe except for San Francisco, or... because I don't know anything really big that's based there. These places that filled up kind of quickly in terms of space, or before really the modern era. They don't have as much place to put modern business stuff. So, things are different. The composition is different. And I'm not sure if it's a European thing. And I wouldn't want to blanket statement it like that, but it certainly could be. Where it's almost more acceptable to be sort of an aggressive panhandler, but you just don't run into that stuff in New York City or in Boston or in Chicago or Philadelphia. There aren't as many people there preying specifically on tourists. I'm not sure what all the reasons are, but one of the reasons would seem to me to be the fact that there are many, many other things going on in the city besides tourists, and every face you see is not a new one. 20 million people live and work around New York City. And people sort of follow the same general patterns. It's a bustling city with, like I said, 20 million people, give or take. And that's including the metropolitan area, by the way. That's not just New York City proper. But generally, people don't stray too far from where they, go. From home to work to the supermarket or whatever. I'm just going to fill in this with dirt. So, if you were a panhandler, you know, even whether or not you run into the exact same people every day, people know, New Yorkers know, that you just sort of ignore them. You just sort of, you know, you don't make eye contact, you just sort of walk by. And that's that. Like, there isn't really anything else to it. So, here's what I want. I want some gravel. There we go. I also want a couple of cars. Not like that. Little old for me. Little new. How about like a 1954? There we go. Similar cars, but different. And then somebody got their Chevy all the way over here. We need some grass. Some other kinds of grass. So, like I said, this is our hurdle for today. If we can get this area done, I'm going to be very happy. I don't think we're going to get the whole area done, but we're certainly getting close. We've got another 55 minutes or so. 6. Last bit of Evan's comment. I'm probably going to try and model some of the models I give you. Oh, okay. I'm not totally certain I understand what you mean by that, but I think I sort of get it. If not, please elaborate. Or, you know, if you can elaborate on that so that I actually understand, that'd be great, is what I'm trying to say. I don't get it. I don't know what I mean. I think I was asking what you were modeling in something, but I don't remember. I don't know why this place is flickering. Oh, it's got some Z fighting. Oh, you know what? Maybe if I just, it's hovering, but at least it isn't Z fighting anymore. I kind of want some junk. I'm not sure if, maybe like a wood pile? Wood boards as scenery. Okay, that's fine. Maybe out behind this place. Just in case you need to fix something. Wood pile. No, not these kinds of wood piles. Wooden barn. Wooden shed. No. Wood stack. Ah! That's what I'm looking for. I need to be careful, else it'll just look like it's part of the building. What am I spinning? That doesn't seem right. Man, if I cared about editing, I would have edited in, you spin me right around, baby, right around. How about a bench? Can I get like a log bench? Big church. Big creek chip loader. Cool. I'll have to use that somewhere. Do some cool billboards, maybe. Okay. So, we have this place. Not much to look at, but this is all up on the cliff, too, so it's not like this area should be that much to look at. I'm going to put this down here in front of the store, or shop, or garage, or whatever this is. I'm going to try to mark out everywhere that's going to be pavement. There's a spot. That is not. This is. Up here underneath this. And then over to here. Not that you can fit one of these 1950s land yachts inside that garage, but hey, you can try. Like I said, I do want to sort of get some trees around in here, but Alright, so in lieu of last week where I only read half of Icer's comment and then forgot about it until the last minute, I think I'm going to forget about the whole thing until the last minute, just because I can. No, I'm kidding. Let's get to Icer's comment. Yes, smoked ham is the best ever. I wonder if it'll ever end up on the Iron Horseman like as an Easter egg or something. If I get some... If I get, like, assets for it, maybe I'll throw it down. Pipe dream of mine is in the future, if I ever get the chance to redo the Horseman route, is to get a dem for it, and rebuild it as close to real life as it would be if such a route would exist. Which, it would be a very challenging run, that's for sure. But possible, but challenging. Anyway, says, like, one of the engineers mentions it, like having it for dinner, or they passed a smokehouse along the line. This should be a thing, Ellison, you know it. Yes, I do know it. He says, yes, I came up with the smoked ham thing, by the way. That's for everyone who doesn't know. Yes, that's him with the smoked ham. He is one who smokes ham, and he keeps mentioning it in the fan chat, and I keep getting hungry. So, god damn it, I'm hungry again just from that comment. I need to stop eating, I'm gonna get fat. So, I should do smoked ham something. Maybe, not here, because there's no place for it here. But definitely there should be like a smokehouse or several along the line. I think we do have a pig commodity, so we might be able to use that for something. But the issue is, again, I'm not sure I have something that holds it, similar to what was going on last episode. I did download a bunch of Dave Snow rail cars, but I have my doubts that they carry his assets, which is unfortunate. In the area that you plan on doing the industry, etc., ETA factories, warehouses, you could look up some industrial parks of the era to see how it looked, and then model them into your area to try you're trying to fill in. I know on my test route, which will end up be PRR, or maybe even something to do with the original Norfolk Southern Railway. I feel like that was supposed to go somewhere. I feel like you were trying to say you looked up stuff and used it. And, yeah. I have looked up some stuff. I have sort of done a little bit of investigation of other industrial parks and how things are set up. For what it's worth, a lot of industrial parks don't have that much rail access, or at least they didn't. Not as much as the ones that I am working on do. It was usually one or two factory buildings, which would move stuff around between one another, and then just a rail stuff going in and a rail stuff going out area. So, what I have right now is kind of overkill, but I think it's, sometimes you have to suspend disbelief a little bit, maybe for the sake of operations or what have you, but in future, a good number of industrial parks will probably have, only a couple of inputs, outputs, tracks. In part because the one that we have currently is really complicated for not a lot of good reason. We need to have something. I don't know what would go into metals recycling. Maybe boxcars full of something. I don't know what. But we need to have an in or an out for that metals recycling place that goes in or out in boxcars. Again, I don't know what. I've been thinking, I just can't come up with anything. If it's like a Dave Snow commodity, maybe, because we have tons of those, we just can't use them. If I get some boxcars that can use them, then maybe I'll be able to do more with them. Like I said, if somebody wants to take an existing boxcar, whatever it may be, whether it be one of the ones I have on the document that's already DLS approved, or whether it just be another boxcar that's on the download station, and reskin it, maybe even do whatever the hell you want with it. Maybe make it up for a smokehouse, I don't care. And then put a bunch of these commodities that go to these industries in it. That would be massively helpful. Download some Dave Snow Industries, and then change out the commodities table. Now that's a little bit more than a reskin, but it's definitely something that's possible. So, if anybody wants to undertake, go for it. And I will try to provide assistance if I can. Not that I'm going to know any more than anyone that's trying to do this, but I will try. I've messed with configs a little bit before, so I was going to say if somebody wants to, they can do the reskin and send me the config, and I'll try to change the stuff. But I don't know when I'm going to have the free time for that. So maybe don't consider that offer. But if anybody does want to do it, I will certainly lend a hand however or whenever I can. Just know that that is not going to be as frequent as anyone wishes it could be. Anyone. So, for those that don't know, Iser says, I'm working on the Rock Island layout from the MMR, the Model Railroader... Is that Model Railroader something? Or MRR, March issue... Oh yeah, Model Railroader. March issue 2019. I'm about 50% done with it. There is about 96 layouts that I got from MRR, but the question is, will I do them? I think you should do every single one and then tie them together as part of like a giant mega route. Go. Do it. Now. I talked about that last time, though, how I wanted to, as an aside to Tolbrand, if I hadn't done Tolbrand, the other thing that I could have done was take all the half-baked routes that you guys or everyone else is making and try and tie them together into a mega route and then automate them that way, instead of doing something totally on my own. It'd sort of be like how I plan to run a multiplayer surveyor route, or plan to operate on a multiplayer surveyor route, where we're going to have a bunch of different people building off in different directions, and I'm sort of going to be the guy that's going to be like, I'm going to visit you, and I'm going to visit you, and I'm going to visit you, I'm going to visit you. And so the town on this map is Gilson City. The town on the other map is going to be called Geiger, and so I'm going to be the Geiger belt line, because I'm going to be going around and connecting all these other railroads, probably in sort of like a giant loop. I need a different kind of fence. 3-bar wood fence is fine. Okay. And there. And I'm really just sort of trying to make justification for these roads here. And I want to snap that. Pop. Rice Krispies. This way. I should have lined it up with the fences themselves, or with the roads themselves. At the very least, I can do that. Missed. I can't see it. Doesn't make a difference. Oh, it does. It totally does. Grabbing the wrong thing again, grabbing the wrong thing a third time, grabbing the wrong thing a fourth time. Where's the... Oh, it's over here. Wait, no, that's not it either. This? There it is. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to justify these weird roads. They are weird. I don't think we're going to finish this town, but we're going to get mighty close. So the other thing I want to do, right, is this area here, I want to have like a pen with some livestock. Again, this is a museum, at least in my, I'm saying it is, so therefore it is. It's a museum, and things belong there. But it is like the original farmhouse from the area. Please don't crash. You said the magic words. Alright. I want to move this house back a little bit. Move the house back a little bit. I'm going to put some grass up here. I'm going to make this radius a little larger. Put some grass up here. We're going to go underneath the road with some dirt later. But grab this. Yes. Okay. We haven't gotten into the meat of town yet. We're sort of still poking around the outside. Around the outside, around the outside. But what I will do is bring this all the way up to here. Because honestly, why wouldn't there be grass here? There's no buildings or anything like that. This area is going to be cleared though. Although a clearing typically refers to an area with no trees, not no grass. But that area is going to be one where there are going to be buildings and houses, so it's going to be completely devoid of everything. Okay. I don't know why I'm avoiding the sand. I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating. I keep grabbing that instead of that. Nope, wrong thing again. Grab the dirt. Thank you. The dirt. But that's where, the Addams family lived. So it's a museum for them. Wow, that was like record speed for references. My references are out of control. I hope everyone understands that. Alright. So I'm gonna draw down this road very carefully. Oh, that's right. Let's talk about Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots. I feel like I have to preface it with that, because some people might not know who he is and why that's significant. Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots, in trouble for soliciting a prostitute at a massage parlor in West Palm Beach, Florida. Brightline is near there. It's apparently in just a crappy strip mall, too. Allegedly, one of the things I've heard is that he is not the biggest name implicated in this, so don't figure that this is going to be all about Roger Goodall. Or Roger Goodall. That's the other guy. That's the guy who owns a massage parlor. Just kidding. It was all a trap. Kraft. I knew it. Brady was generally aware of it, suspended for 10 games. No. So he went in there. This guy is a billionaire. He's got like $7 billion. He can have anything he wants. He lives half of his life in New England when the Patriots are playing, and the other half in West Palm Beach when they aren't. And man's got it made. And if you want to hear the story of how he bought the Patriots, that's a real topsy-turvy real estate tale. It's very interesting, I think. But then again, I'm the same guy who was watching, like, the Redux, or not the Redux, the thing about the Super Bowl, basically figuring it's like porn for Patriots fans because we won. But yeah, porn for the rest of the league is watching I was calling him Goodall again. No, that's the guy we don't like. Robert Kraft get in trouble. And, oh, he did. Uh, 2 counts of soliciting a prostitute at a place that he may have known, we don't know, but he may have known that these are, trafficked sex workers, not just girls that have decided to take up giving handies. It's, and that's really what's concerning. We don't know right now if he knew that, that there was a problem with this place, or if he just went to this place and, I get the, put $60 down and there's that. Oh yeah, I got off it's like 80 years old. Got off as an 80-year-old man. Hooray! I got my rocks off, got my kicks, whatever. We don't know if he just went there because it was just a nearby place and he decided to go, or if he knew that there was something going on there, he was directed there by one of the people, or by somebody saying, "Hey, this place is really good." If he was aware of the sex trafficking, then he's going to be in trouble, and he rightfully should be. But if he was not, then there are way bigger fish to fry with this case. He's probably going to get in a little bit of trouble, but I don't think he's going to get in huge trouble. Pay a fine or whatever. Such is life. Okay, this way, and then I want an area over here to be cleared. I also want the area underneath this to be... I don't know, there are way more jokes about it. If you go on the Patriots subreddit, people are going all over about it. It's nice to see that people aren't, blindly defending the man. People recognize that he may have done something really wrong. And it's, I don't know, it's hopefully there is justice for the people that are responsible for the sex trafficking. And if one of them is Robert Kraft, then so be it. That's what happens when you do stuff like that. I don't think he's somebody who would need to get involved in that, but hey, I don't know where his motives are at. He figured that he wanted to do this thing, and then he did it. Potentially. But we'll see. Remains to be seen how this all pans out. So, that's my take on this whole thing. Again, I think it's... If it weren't for the fact that there is the, potential of sex trafficking and all that sort of nastiness in with this, I would think it'd be the funniest NFL story of the year. So, if this all blows over, hopefully we're going to crack up. Again, the jokes about it are already ridiculous. They're already flying. It's crazy. It's funny. But, you can't just laugh. Can't just laugh at a situation like this. So, anyway. What else have I got? What else is going on around here? I'm putting out dirt for all these places when really there should be a lot more grass around. I need to readjust myself. Oh, goodness. There really should be. Again, I'm just dirting the place up. Not necessarily great. It's very simple. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look good either. It's just one of those. What I think I'll do is I can go and I can grab this gravel and I can make little gravel paths to the front doors. I'm not sure if we're on 5-meter grid or 10-meter. We're lagging out when I'm drawing, so I assume we're on 5-meter, but the drawing itself says 10. The way it sort of looks. And then here's what we can do. We can fill these in with gravel, and then in order to make things look right, we can take the other kind of grass, which is over here, and fill in all these empty spaces with that. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to go on about this week necessarily. My brain is kind of fried, like I said, for a number of reasons. But we are getting close to wrapping this area here up, and then I won't be able to get very far because the next spot is, like I said, RJ Canyon. But it's really going to be a lot of simple stuff once we do get past here. We can solve the canyon issue, then we can do everything from there down to the swamp, because the swamp is down there. It's down, it's there, we're looking at it. We want to do everything from here to the Y, really. After solving the RJ Canyon thing, it should be relatively simple. Mostly just grass and trees. And ballast. I'll be able to get more AI work done. And people are working diligently on making those new reskins, etc. Everything that's being made right now. Like I said, very thankful for it. I don't know. So, I did say I wanted to get done this year 2 sections. Or 3, I guess. The one that we're on right now. The next one, which is the next 15 miles to Bellington, which is this way. So it's the same distance, so the map is going to double in length. And then the section from here to in the twin branch lines. That's a pretty big hurdle. But this next section is going to be relatively simple. Relatively. Compared to what we've been doing right now. We're going to be going more inland, so there is going to be more ground to deal with. But it's going to be mostly farms and fields with a little bit of forest. So mostly stuff that I can do on camera and not off camera. It's going to be just sort of the main line, probably heading almost dead straight, I would figure. See how much better this looks now? What else? And then we come into Bellington, and that's that. Yeah, that's going to be fairly straightforward. It's going to be 15 miles of running in an almost straight line. So, I am looking forward to doing that section just because it's going to be a quick one. And it means that we're going to be able to do more automation on the main line, which is something I've been looking forward to for a while. Right now, like I said, I'm limited by where the trains can come from, even if I'm not limited by where the trains can go, because I can have them delete at the end of their schedule. I'm limited by where they can come from. And even right now, some of the trains that are coming from off-map, they sit and wait for a little while before they can actually move. And the reason is because the map isn't ready for them. They should be farther off, but they only exist because I wanted them now. So, not the best reasoning, but that's just the way it is. I'm gonna move this guy's house over just slightly. And then we're gonna put a car. A nice pickup there in the driveway. And the driveway, I mean the dirt. Yeah, we're making pretty good headway. We've got how long now? We've got about 25 minutes. I don't even know how I'm going to fill 25 minutes. I mean, I can work in silence. Why is the scale so high? But yeah, that's that. I don't know. God, I ran out of things to talk about so quickly. I had so many things that I wanted to talk about, so many things I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be great, this is going to be great, this is going to be great. Cover them all immediately. All the stuff that was bounced off of the comments, which, like I said, great comments. It just came and it went. It came and it went, and that's how things work. You know, you never can get anything good for any length of time when you're thinking. I mean, I guess a ramble is fine. But, I don't know, I can only go so far with things. So I am going to... Is there a door in the back of this? Yeah, there is, but I don't really care. I'm just going to go right under this building with the grass texture. In the back of this, I'll just encroach right there. Let's fill this area up. Buttercup. So, yeah. I'm trying to like keep myself going, keep myself up and sort of ready for whatever. Obviously, I'm a little bit down right now, but all these channel plans, what I can do, what I can't do, we'll really just have to wait and see. I think doing the streaming for the weekly timetable, bringing that back is a good decision and something that has a lot of potential, at least just to sort of get the word out to people. Although doing that in the context of just a normal stream could probably work too. There are a couple of things that might be on the horizon, but I don't know when they're going to sort of show their faces or whether I'm going to have enough free time to actually make use of them, I suppose. That's really my limiting factor. There's really nothing else that stands in the way. Time and money. And even money is, I earn money, I can only spend time. There are only so many hours in a week. I don't get them back if I stay longer at work. That sort of thing. Yeah. I don't get it back. It's a fact of life. It's the one currency that you cannot exchange. You just give it away, and that's that. Which is a shame. A lot of things are a shame. I'm ashamed of the world. I'm ashamed of trains for locking up like this for no reason. I'm just trying to switch to a texture. Once this section is done, and I've got the AI ironed out as much as it's going to get, I'm going to put this on the download station, and I'm going to move on to Trains 2019, because I'm looking forward to it, because it's more stable, and it's better optimized, and all those other reasons that I've talked about in the past. It's just, I am wanting to move to something that my computer treats a little bit better, because it's the difference between being able to build stuff properly, which I can still do, and being able to actually play on it. I really can't play on Tolbrent. A lot of people can't, but I really can't. And the thing that's unfortunate about that is, well, I have to have the AI do it for me, but I can't play on my own damn map. How much does that suck? Plenty. That's how much. Alright, let's see. We've got this patch to fill in. I think I'm going to do a layer of dirt underneath everything, and then I'll come in and fill in with other things. And I'm going to check something real quick. It is 5 meter. Okay. That's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. So, yeah, I want to get this done efficiently now. I don't want to be lollygagging and doing random stuff. If we get this done, I'm going to be real happy. I can finally, make peace with atoms, basically, and I think it won't look half bad. I didn't go in the back and do the museum yet. That's something that I do want to spend a little bit of time on, and I might want to rearrange or reorganize the grass a little bit because I want to put a small pen of animals, like I said, maybe sheep, or maybe pigs, or cows, or whatever. But that is, one of the last places I think that we need to do. The rest of the stuff is on the main drag, and I think really should get done. Not that anyone would really be looking around up here. That's the other thing with this place. I could have left it off entirely, almost. Obviously, there's something here on the map, but I could have just painted the ground green and put the buildings there and said, hey, there it is, there you go. It's Adams. But I wanted to get this, I wanted this to look this way. I wanted this to look good enough. I wanted it to be passable or, semi-realistic, like this town actually is here, and not like it's a bunch of buildings strewn along a road. You guys know how committed I am to making this a whole world, whether or not it's going to be stuff that people are going to see on a normal basis if they're watching trains or driving trains. But, I did already do a write-up for this area, and it's here. It's not going anywhere. And we have a flag stop. It's not at the town, but it's down there. So, it's nearby. I don't know. Too many trains maps skimp on the town. I feel. There just isn't enough town to go around. So, that's what I'm fixing. We've already got we've got 3 major towns and 2 minor towns. Well, 3, no. Okay, math, please. We have 3 major towns. That'd be Olive, Mason's Landing, and Mason Valley. And 3 minor towns, which are Doe Cliff is the one that I was forgetting, Adams, and Treadway Beach, which I totally count. We also have areas where we could have towns. For example, the flat area on the other side of the tunnel down the VMR. So on the other side of where the Y is, I think that's an area for a small, well, maybe I wouldn't call it town, but certainly a farm. I do want to have a little bit of a stop off there. We have all the little farms along the way, the creameries that we have yet to work on, other than placing the buildings there. Those are the equivalent of just placing down your cardboard cutouts on a model railroad and going, yeah, I'm going to make a thing here at some point. Just next to the siding. Where we already have the building, we just don't have any of the functionality. So, we're getting there with all these little places that are filling up the world, and that's important. But we still have a ways to go. I forgot about the creameries until now. It is going to make our life in one way easier, but in one way harder when we go down there to actually work on them. Because it means that we don't have to do copy-paste trees, which is nice because we can do all of it on camera. But the flip side of that is we actually have to make those farm fields. And that can be sort of a pain in the neck. So, yeah. Well, I wouldn't call them farm fields, I guess. They're pastures. They're grazing land. But still, we're going to be putting big walls around stuff. It's sort of going to be our prelude to building fields before we get towards Bellington. So once we get on the other side of Mason's Landing, it's all farms. Might as well be Nebraska. There are probably going to be some very subtle hills, but not much else. Okay, so we have that, and we can totally skimp. We can totally call it, fill in all of the gray with brown and call it a day. I'm not even going to go back there to where the lake is probably today, unless I have time. But let's see, do we have any gray grid left? Yes, right here. Yes, officer, this one right here. This is the grid, a digital frontier. Speaking of which, speaking of sequels, way later, Spaceballs 2021. Or not Spaceballs, Jesus. Space Jam 2021. Very, very different movies. Don't get those two confused. I mean, you can if you want to, but, not the same movie at all. Space Jam sequel. I mean, we knew it was coming, but I can't not be a little bit giddy about it, even though I don't really care about Space Jam. Just the fact that they're making a sequel is entertaining to me. I hope it's good. Probably won't be, but I hope it's entertaining. It's probably going to be. I hope it tickles the nostalgia fancy of everyone who. Likes Space Jam. The thing about it, right? What sort of anything has Bugs Bunny been in lately? Do they make new Bugs Bunny cartoons? I don't know. I'm asking that legitimately. Do they? I didn't think they did. I wasn't under the impression that they made new Bugs Bunny cartoons. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong. But this will be our first chance to see Bugs Bunny again. If he's going to be in it, which I assume he's going to be in it. Because come on, he's got to be. And, some of the other tunes, the ones that we all know and love. Also, this house is backwards. Playing basketball. I wonder if there's so much that I'm curious about. I almost have to see the movie, even though I don't really care. That's what's getting me about Space Jam right now. I'm just curious about it. And I have to wait, we all have to wait 2 years before it actually comes out. What's with that? Hey, good things take time, I guess. We'll see. We'll see if it's any good. I hope it is. But I have, my expectations are not very high. It is another Space Jam after all. Wasn't exactly an amazing film. It was an entertaining one, I'll say that much. But I won't say it was a great movie. And maybe I'm wrong. You can fight me on that. But I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think about another Space Jam. A while ago, they released a promo poster for it, and I was like, oh, look, it's Space Jam. Oh, my God. For some inexplicable reason. It's not like I care that much. I'm intrigued. I want to see how it goes. But it's not like that movie is my bread and butter. I've seen it maybe once. It's certainly not my Grand Budapest Hotel or my Up or, any other movie that I'm in love with. It's another movie that Sandlot, I rewatched recently. The Departed, that's a good one. That's a movie I could watch again and again. Even when you know how it ends, it's good. What's another good movie that I can rewatch? 587, The Great Train Robbery. No, okay, maybe not. It's a Wonderful Life. Only at Christmas, though. Die Hard, also only at Christmas. Crap, what's another good movie? I'm trying to think of ones that I rewatch. The A-Team. I rewatched The A-Team. And what was on the other day? The Avengers was on TV, so I rewatched that because why not? That's a good movie. Marvel just keeps knocking it out of the park. I talked about this last time. I talked about how Marvel keeps making good movies and DC keeps making good TV shows, and they can't seem to find that, that overlap, that place where they both make good stuff, or where one, they make one or the other. Rogue One is a film I will gladly rewatch, and I'm saying, things I would rewatch or things I have rewatched. They're special to me because I'm not a person that rewatches movies, really. I see a movie once and go, oh wow, that was good, and then sort of leave it at that. I'll rewatch Atomic Blonde or Baby Driver. Those are both really great films, I think. I talked about both of those on the stream, on the War Chungus stream. God, what was... Yeah, no, what was, I'm trying to think of movies that I liked. I never watched all the way through Titanic. I sort of, I got to the part where the ship breaks in half and went, that's what I came here to see. Also the tits. I came here for that too. But that's before that. So, You get through that part, and you go, ooh, and then you get through the other part. Stargate I've rewatched several times, mostly to get people involved in the Stargate franchise. Not as like I want to rewatch Stargate, like hey, I want to introduce you to this. This is the first part. Welcome aboard the Stargate universe. No, that's a show. Star Trek Into Darkness. I have that one. I bought that one for the sake of watching it again. I think that's the best of the 3 newer Trek movies, which, I know a lot of people, particularly older school Trek fans, didn't really like them as much, but I thought they were just fine. I thought Beyond was a little cheesy, but, whatever. It's cheesy, it's Trek. What do you really expect? Trying to find places to put grass. Because if I put some grass down, it'll make things look a little bit more passable. Also, I want to gravel up the front of this. I really just I should just have gravel out. Put grass down here, put grass down here between these houses. Put grass down in this space. I don't know why the greenhouse makes that obnoxious noise, but it does. Okay, you know what? This doesn't look half bad now. I think I'll put down a couple of cars here. Maybe some gas pumps here. They'll have 2 competing gas stations. No? Gas. Nope. I guess not, never mind. Just wanted some gas pumps to put out front here. I had other smaller grass. What did I ever do with that? Oh, that's right, back here. Okay, we've got 7 minutes to spruce this place up. 3-bar wood fence, just like the Adamses used to do it. Just like the Adams family would do it. Here, I'm doing that so that I can close the loop, and then I'm going to snip, snap, snip. Okay, here, I want a sort of muddy, almost texture for this inside ground. Maybe this? No, I did use that elsewhere though, didn't I? Yeah, that's fine. This is good. And I'll also fill in some gaps with dirt. And I'm going to fill in most of this ground with dirt, actually. Yeah, we're getting Adams done. I need my dirt. Now we're not going to put any grass in there. We are going to get this grass texture. We're going to bring it up to the back of the house. This building is not yet restored. I feel like I'm on such a time crunch when it's like, oh man, if I go over, nothing happens. But it's like, I wanted to get it done. I wanted to get it done within the 2 hours. This is a big deal for me as someone who like never speed builds. I just sort of come in here for 2 hours. I take my time. I talk about whatever. This is a big deal for me if I can get this done. I also want a little bit of the gravel somewhere, but we will do that in a second. I want it back here. I want it over here. You park in front of the barn. It's like the visitor center. Or over here. Get that spot right under there. And then over here. I want grass. Wrong grass. Wrong stuff. Not grass. There we go. There we go. Okay. I'll leave grass on that patch, and maybe just a little bit around it. That isn't the way I wanted to do that, but you know what? That's fine by me. Alright. There we go. We will need, in a moment, some animals. I missed a spot. Missed a spot with texture. Whatever texture I have on is going to be the one I fill it in with. It's going to be the stupid gravel. Blah. I don't like that. Oh well. Nope, not oh well. I'll fix it. Because I'm God. I am a god. Alright, let's get some cars. Car? Why does it refer to that house? 1954. Is there a convertible in metallic mint green? So I could probably use that. That'd be a great reference for you guys to get. Okay, so there are a bunch of identical cars over there. Alright, and now I want pigs. Pigs is pigs. I want some three-dimensional pigs. I changed my mind, I want sheep. Oh yeah, it's the right sheep, alright. Animals tend to end up in groups, so... There we go. We got some sheep in the field. Just like old times. Alright, kind of a sparse place, but you know what? I'm okay with how it turned out. This is Adams. And I didn't even do any trees, and I think it's okay for now. If you guys think it needs more trees, say so. And I'll put in a nice sprinkling of them. And maybe a little of one, a little bit of another. Maybe some sort of protrusions off from the forest. But right now I think we're doing okay with the way this town looks. And again, it didn't really have to be a looker town anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. Train Man out.